Capitalism is the consequence of philosophy. It's a consequence of particular philosophical views. And if you hold philosophical views that ultimately contradict the foundational concepts, then you're not going to be pro-capitalism. And look, the reason so few people out there in the world are not pro-capitalism is because they have rotten philosophies. It's not because they don't understand how capitalism works. They don't understand how capitalism works because they won't accept capitalism. They don't listen. They can't comprehend it because it doesn't fit into the rest of their worldview. And the worldview is what dictates their particular view about economics and about political systems. So if you reject free will, as many, many intellectuals do, you can't have capitalism. If you embrace some form, and there are many forms of this, of the philosopher king notion, or the ignorance of the individual, not the ignorance, the incompetence of the individual, or the sinfulness of the individual, you can't have capitalism. So we don't have it. If you have the primacy of consciousness, or you reject reason, you reject rationality, you're just not going to get capitalism. If you embrace altruism and you reject self-interest, even superficially, even not an Ayn Rand even egoism, just an idea of pursuing your own self-interest, you can't have capitalism. This is why capitalism is so, the development of capitalism is so special. It's so unusual. It's such a moment in time that cannot, and it is very difficult to replicate. It comes out of an enlightenment in which people respected reason, believed in the primacy of reality, and used reason to make choices, to change the world, discover the world, and then change it. It's a period in which, while everybody still gave lip service to altruism, there was people were starting to think about, okay, but the real purpose of it all is happiness, right? We're supposed to be happy, and I need to choose values to be happy. And I can't quite reject the Christian ethics yet, but the goal is for the individual to be happy. So embracing element of egoism, embracing elements, definitely elements of reality and reason. And this is why it all comes together and we get capitalism, because it just doesn't come together in the minds of intellectuals, but because they're communicating it and teaching it and developing it, and it becomes part of the culture. And people go out and start living, really living with a capital L, using their minds to make choices. And when they make the money, when they succeed, they feel a lot less guilty than anybody than in the past and in the future, maybe, because they believe they deserved it, because they buy into free will. Desert makes sense to them. And that's what happens in the 19th century, is all that work that was done in the 18th century in the Enlightenment, people capitalize it, and what the result we get is capitalism. The result we get of the Enlightenment is capitalism. It's the consequence of a decent philosophical view. And since the beginning of the 19th century, the Enlightenment has been attacked and attacked and attacked and attacked and attacked and attacked. The idea of a philosopher king has come back. The idea of primacy of consciousness has come back. The idea of the impotence of reason has come back. Postmodernism, Kantianism, everything. The idea of determinism has come back, and of course the idea of altruism has come back. And as those keep coming back, as those philosophers keep being elevated in the culture and seeping through the culture and in every corner of the culture, thus capitalism declines. And that's why it's so hard. It's so frustrating, right? You do economics. The economics of capitalism is so simple, so relatively easy. The history of capitalism is so true, so simple, so straightforward. Capitalism works, socialism doesn't. Why don't you people get it? Because that's not what it's about. They will tell you capitalism is unjust. Capitalism is exploitative. People don't deserve it. People are unhappy under capitalism. Haven't you heard that one? People are alienated. Alienated. They don't know what's good for them. People make choices. They're materialistic. We have a consumer culture, a consumerism culture. They don't know what's good for them. They need somebody to tell them what's good for them. And you see that today on left and right. Everybody wants to tell everybody else what to do. Authoritarianism is on the rise in America and in the West. And it is on the rise, not because of politics, it's on the rise because the philosophy of authoritarianism has been on the rise for 100 years. 200 years, really, but for the first 100 years, we still had that energy and momentum from the Enlightenment.